How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with another video. Today it is Game Week 26 Part 1. I'm actually going to do this in two separate videos because the games are spaced out over 2 whole weeks. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the fixtures for this weekend, and then I'll come back with a Part 2 on the Wednesday, Thursday probably, of next week, before the Friday, Saturday, Sunday fixtures for the same game week. I just thought it'd be a little bit better, a little bit more interesting. So it'll be a little bit shorter of a stream and video today, depending on which platform you're watching on, Twitch or YouTube. But yeah, that's my team on the screen right there. We're going to go straight in to the actual fixtures, and we'll do all of the predictions today and the differentials. But I will be doing differentials for both sets of games. Obviously having them not be played, but you can't sub in people, you know, mid FPL game week, but it's more fun, more content, and a lot harder to obviously guess during the midweek, in between game weeks, to see how other teams played. So like as an example, City plays the first game, but Liverpool plays later on. So it'd be pretty interesting to see what differentials people go for, if they want to get the differentials done and out of the way with, or, you know, if they have the conspiracy that they like to have their captain in the last game, or whatever it may be. But definitely interesting stuff. So let's see how we got on here. So this is our game week 25 tweet here. And so 2-2 was the Leicester and Chelsea scoreline. We got the draw correct, so we get 1 point for that. Bournemouth Aston Villa, we said was a draw. It was a loss, actually. Bournemouth won the game 2-1. Sheffield United, we got the score exactly correct, which bears us 3 points. It's a terrible 3 there. Liverpool, we said would win 2-0. They end up winning 4-0, thanks to Mo Salah's 2 goals to make it 4. So we get 1 point there. Norwich versus Newcastle, we said Newcastle would win 2-1. It was actually 0-0. So no points there. Everton, we said would win 2-1 over Watford. They won 3-2, so we do get the 1 point there. West Ham versus Brighton, we said Brighton would win 2-0. West Ham actually ended up going ahead in that game. We're ending up leading 3-1 at one point, and Brighton came back and drew 3-3. So no points there. We said Man United beat Wolves 2-1. That didn't happen either. It was a nothing affair. We said Arsenal win 2-1 against Burnley. That didn't happen either. They end up drawing. And we said Spurs would lose by 1-2 versus Man City. Man City actually ended up losing with some Zinchenko getting sent off. Sterling should have probably been sent off as well. So we got that one wrong there. So we get 1, 2, 3, 6 points total. We got one correct score right, which is what we like to have per week. Obviously not as good as our week before that, where we had an extra game to get exactly correct. But in terms of the differentials and clean sheets and all that sort of stuff, we did quite well, actually. So Liverpool kept a clean sheet, Dubravka kept a clean sheet, and almost got bonus points for that. Unfortunately, Williams didn't play, but had he done so, he would have got a clean sheet. Salah was obviously a big yes, and then Aubameyang, obviously, they didn't score. But yeah, 3 out of 5 isn't terrible for our clean sheets and differentials. So yeah, we won't be doing that in the next part. We'll just be reviewing our tweet from this week, which will be just for the 4 games that's on in the first part of the game week. So this is what the team looked like. We originally had Mane in. We knew he wasn't going to play. We knew Traore was going to come in. He ended up getting us 3 points. Dean Henderson, we got a goalkeeper that got us a lot of points this week. He got 10 points. Which is quite good. He got a save point, kept a clean sheet, and did quite well for himself. Trent getting a clean sheet again. Lundstrom coming on as a sub, so he may be the fall guy potentially for Sheffield United's new signing. I can't remember in the name of him. Let's go actually check, so I want to obviously get this right. Sheffield United players. Sheffield United. His name is Burge. That's what it was. So yeah, he could potentially be the fall guy, Lundstrom, for him. But we'll have to see. Maybe it's just a bit of rotation. Maybe Fleck gets rotated this time. We'll have to see. Traore, like we said, came in, got us 3 points, got a clean sheet. perfectly okay. Grealish, obviously disappointing not to get any returns versus Bournemouth, considering Bournemouth aren't that great, although they have picked it up in the last 2 games. Salah captaincy was obviously a very good captaincy choice. De Bruyne obviously not getting anything versus Spurs as they didn't score. Greenwood surprisingly didn't play, but came on as a sub and got us 1 point. Vardy didn't get anything, and Calvert-Lewin didn't get anything either. But Salah definitely carried us this week, and we went up, I think, 50k places from, I think it was just inside the top 200k to now just inside the top 150k, which is quite good. And we played our best possible team that we could have played. Obviously, we knew Mane wasn't going to play, we knew Traore was going to come in, and then Solanke obviously only getting 1 point. He couldn't have changed for any of the players, and got us any increased points. If we could have played Ramsdale as well, we would have, but unfortunately that's not how it works in FPL. So, the fixtures that we're going to be looking at this game week for this part of the video is just going to be these 4. So the ones being played on Saturday and this Saturday and Sunday. In the next video, we will look at the fixtures on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And then hopefully things will resume back to normal for the next week. So these are just the fixtures that we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to do the clean sheet and differentials for both sets. But I'm going to do it on the different package games. So we're going to go on the assumption that I only had these 4 games to pick a good player from, or if you were set on picking one of these players, maybe fancy the fixture, which they are pretty good fixtures to be honest for most of the teams involved that should win the game. But yeah, so Everton versus Crystal Palace. Well, Crystal Palace are bad; they can't score, and yeah, so I think Everton should just win the game 2-0. My opinion. Everton haven't kept a clean sheet in a couple games, I want to say, so I think they're due one. But Crystal Palace could also potentially do a goal as well. So, yeah. Actually, I forgot to change something here. Forgot to change the game type. There we go. Forgot to change the game type. Still had it on League of Legends, unfortunately, but we swapped it now. Yeah, so 2-0 Everton, I think, is the likely score there. I just don't see Crystal Palace scoring. They conceded early to Watford. They caught them off, by surprise, but they end up managed coming back and getting a good set piece deliveries in for Yerry Mina to score. Watford versus Brighton. Brighton haven't been looking as good. I'm actually going to go with an upset here. Watford away to take it 2-1. Sheffield United, I see no reason why they can't win another game 1-0. Their clean sheet record has been amazing. Bournemouth, they scored against Aston Villa. They scored a lot versus Brighton, but Sheffield United is a different animal altogether. They're really, really solid. And yeah, I just can't see them losing the game. And then Man City versus West Ham. I don't know what's wrong with City. It may be time to consider getting rid of the potential assets and stuff like that involved. On paper, it's a really good fixture. West Ham are bad, so I'm going to say City wins the game. I'll say they'll win 3-1 because I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet because I'm not sure if Laporte was back. I think they brought him back. He was still fatigued from being out for a long-term injury, so I think City will win 3-1. In terms of clean sheets, I think Sheffield United is the obvious one here. They've been keeping clean sheets for fun. And you got to go with Dean Henderson in this case for Sheffield United. So I'm going to put him straight in there. In terms of defenders, it's a bit of a tough one. Normally I would have put Lundstrom in a game like this, but he was rested and then came on as a sub. So I'm not too sure. I think potentially you may see some rotation in Everton's squad, which would make me think Sidibe could be playing out of position, which is someone who I have. And maybe see a Benjamin Mendy in this Man City game because West Ham aren't the greatest. So I think Mendy will go in. I am saying getting rid of City assets, but he is a differential. He could be that much of a wild card. And obviously with Zinchenko getting subbed off, and not subbed off, sent off rather, Mendy will probably have to play this game. So I think it's a pretty easy pick there. Into midfield, I'm not sure. I could be wrong here. Is De La Feu a midfielder or an attacker? I should know this because I used to have him at one point last season. He's actually a forward. Okay, so that makes things a little bit more interesting. So for forward, I'll just skip one over here. De La Feu. I can't even spell his name. How do you spell his name? Deulofeu. So Deulofeu, like that. Close enough. I'll fix it later if I have to. But yeah, De La Feu I think could be a good forward pick here. It's been playing quite well in recent games, and yeah, could be very good against a Brighton team that seems to be struggling a bit when it comes to scoring and keeping the ball out of their net. Into midfield, I think there could be a good shout here. It seems like Fleck is the main guy at the moment. Could be a very cheap option, so I'm actually going to go with John Fleck from Sheffield United as well. So we've got a lot of Sheffield United in there for these games, and I think he could be quite good as well. But yeah, so we're just going to look at those games for the week. Like I said, in part 2, we'll look at the remaining fixtures in the game week and do the same thing here. So on to the current team. So we have a bit of problems at the moment. We got some flags up on Traore. We got a flag up on Mane, but he's supposed to be back this week. Kelly seems to be out for the near future, so it could be a bit of trouble for the team. At the moment, we know that Soyuncu will probably play against Wolves. We know that Greenwood will probably come on as a sub if United are down in the game at all. He may even start versus Chelsea. So that gives us coverage for 2 players for sure. And then Kelly, obviously, if he's out, then you know that could be quite bad. Obviously, if Lundstrom doesn't start as well, that could be very problematic. But we basically just need 2 of Mane, Lundstrom, and Traore to start. If Traore is fit, he'll play, but I think it's just a precautionary thing, just because he did injure his shoulder, but he should be fine to play. I don't see myself transferring Kelly out unless I go in and check to see how long he is actually out, if they've released it yet. On here it doesn't say, it just says unknown return date. So he could be back next game, he could be back 7 game weeks from now. But in terms of defense, we're not short at the moment. We have Trent Alexander-Arnold playing pretty much every game, and he's doing quite well. We have Sidibe, who is basically irreplaceable with him and Holgate, although they have some pretty bad fixtures coming up, but still fairly low owned. Lundstrom got his rest last week, so he'll probably be playing in this week. We may have to address it come game week 28 for Kelly, because we were planning on playing him in the Brighton away. So if he's not back for that, then we'll have to look at some kind of change there. But for now, we have Dean Henderson in goal at home to Bournemouth, as well as Lundstrom. Sidibe is in with Calvert-Lewin at home to Crystal Palace. We have the 3 Liverpool lads in away to Norwich with Salah captain, Mane as our vice. We have Grealish in over Soyuncu and Greenwood. Leicester just doesn't seem to be keeping clean sheets and not been playing well. Plus, we don't want our attacker, if Traore does play, to go against our defender. Grealish is in against Tottenham at home. De Bruyne is in versus West Ham. And then lastly, we have Jamie Vardy in away to Wolves, who's going against Traore, who is at home to Leicester. And we have McCarthy on the bench versus Burnley. We think that Dean Henderson will be better versus Bournemouth. Bournemouth and Burnley have been picking up a little bit, but I think Sheffield United's defense is way stronger than Southampton's, so I expect him to do a lot better. And then obviously on the bench we have Greenwood, then Kelly, then Soyuncu. We won't change that. Actually, 2 attackers is probably better than 1, so we'll probably do that. Just to change things up a bit. We'd rather have the attacker come on than the defender, and we typically don't want to have to use both of these in a normal circumstance. But yeah, hopefully it's not Not the end of the world, but looking just doing a quick bit of looking ahead here. So we do have 1.6 million in the bank, so we could potentially upgrade Kelly to a much more expensive defender. So could potentially get in another Sheffield United defender like Baldic as an example. We could potentially upgrade if Mane's out longer term, potentially swap him out for something. As well, potentially swap him out for Robertson and bring in a cheaper midfielder. So what type of price range are we looking at? Well, we'll be looking at a 10 million-ish midfielder. Could basically do a mini wild card in a sense, potentially upgrade Greenwood to somebody, maybe like a Danny Ings or something like that. Maybe Jimenez back. You know, could be something along those lines. But for now, I think we're just going to keep it. We don't need to rush Kelly out. If we lose 0.1 on him, it's not the end of the world, but we want to just see if there's going to be any information leaked as soon as possible about what his how long his injury is going to be. Yeah, I'll have to go and check on Mane and Traore, but I think they should both be fine. Mane was scheduled to be back for the game week coming up. Plus, he has extra time as well, because Liverpool does not play until the following Friday, so a week today. So they get an extra. On the Saturday rather. Looking at Leicester. On the Saturday, so he gets extra week and 1 day, which is good for him for recovery purposes. So yeah, that's the team is gonna be for now. If there are any changes, I'll post the final change before it gets too late. Yeah, this should be pretty straightforward. I didn't want to change anything crazy. In the next stream, we'll probably be looking closer towards the game week 28 fixture, where there are blanks involved. Yeah, we'll have to see where the double game week fixtures line up, because as it stands right now, it's still to be confirmed. So by next week, we may have more information on when the blank will be taking place, and if it's going to be in game week 29, or if it's going to be way later. So that's going to do it for part 1 of this video. Like I said, make sure to keep up to date on Twitter, because that's where we post all of our lineups, and post our predictions, which I'll post the small one that we did already for these games, and we'll check them out next week. So it's PilotFam226 on Twitter, YouTube, and yeah, make sure to check everything out, subscribe and like, and make sure to leave a comment below. Let me know if you've kept on hanging on to Mane as well, or if there's anyone that you are particularly keeping an eye on, especially with the blank game weeks coming. That's going to do it for part 1. I'll see you in part 2 next week, and until then, take care.